Hold up. Better late low.
Some stuff, you just gotta see it to believe it.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
But it ain't nothing like hearing it straight from the dog's mouth, because he tells it just like it is.
The word on the street. Here's what's popping.
Here's what's popping, people. My name is Dogface Calderon. This is Dogface TV podcast, live on everything: Patreon, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Apple Music, Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast. I'm live on everything. Hey, this is a special episode of What's in the News. See, I want to welcome my
Your volume went out.
You went mute, big homie.
So this is a special episode of What's in the News. Sorry about that. I had a phone call. One of our fellow Youtubestreeters, Henny, just called me, and so I had to take that phone call. I couldn't not answer Henny. In the whole saga of Big Meech and who Big Meech is and what Big Meech did or didn't do, we've had several people chime in with their opinions and their theories and their hypotheses of whether he is solid, not solid, or if he's bogue or not bogue, and if he is bogue, then how bogue is he or how bogue isn't he? Right? So so the Youtubestreets and none of the people that we deal with, we're not reactionary people in terms of reviewing other people's content. We are the content creators. We are the people who produce content that other people then take and review. We don't do that. We're straight line. We're first line defenders of this shit. We come in with the content that force other motherfuckers into thinking about what we say, and then go back and they go over what we say and then turn it into a fucking video. There's a rare occasion when we do that, and that's usually because it is a situation where somebody has said something that's totally off the cuff, and we can't allow it to go unfucking chastised. That's normally what happens. This is one of those situations. So let me prefix it. First, let me introduce my magnanimous, illustrious panelist. All right, y'all introduce yourself, man. We all pay attention, nigga. Come on, what we doing?
What up, though? Welcome. It's Juice from the Beat Factory 313, and we here on the Youtubestreets. What's happening?
What you waiting on, E? Come on home. What you waiting on? You muted?
Your mic, E.
Your mic muted.
Your mic muted, E. Your mic.
I know, my bad. I apologize. I was trying to fix the streaming thing. My bad. Anyway, man, I mean, I'm just right here, man, rocking with the men. Shout out to the Youtubestreets, man. I'm just here, man, seeking the truth and not letting nobody, man, pour no wool over my eyes. I'd have been in too many situations where as though I'd have been involved in, let's say, conspiracies of one level or another, and I'd have been in cells and jailhouses and detention centers with a bunch of lying, sneaky rats telling me, nah, E, I love you, bro. I'd die for you. But they in the prosecutor's office later on that night telling on me and everybody else I know. This is why I'm so interested in this Meech situation. It's not just a Meech thing for me. It's not a BMF thing. It's not a Detroit thing for me. It's me against all rats because of what I've involved myself in life. So, you know, that's what I'm always here for a person to say, why y'all still talking about it? I'm still talking about it because as you read the documents, it just reveals more and more and more government cooperation from Georgia to Missouri to Michigan to California. That's what's up with me.
In Texas. Did we forget Texas?
I keep forgetting Texas. Yes, Texas as well.
You can never forget Texas. Hey, listen. So, like I prefixed the conversation earlier by saying that we're not reactionary people. We are people. We are content producers. We produce the content that other podcasters, without any objection from us. Because when a podcaster, let me make this clear. People say, "Hey, Dogface, so and so podcast shared your live stream." Like yesterday and day before yesterday, you had people who were live streaming our live stream. And my people was like, man, this guy, he live streaming your shit directly to his shit. Man, he shouldn't be allowed to do that. Hey, do it. We don't give a fuck. We ain't tripping about that shit because when he does, you're broadcasting what we do on your channel. All that does is open us up to more people who we didn't necessarily know or who didn't necessarily know us. We don't give a fuck about that shit. When I think you're in violation of content stealing, I'll let you know. But realistically speaking, I have never challenged anybody for sharing anything of mine, and I don't give a fuck, to tell you the truth. I don't give a fuck, right? It is what it is. So listen, this is going to be one of those reactionary things because we had legendary Detroit criminal defense attorney Steve Fishman a couple of weeks ago. I believe it was February 19th. He weighed in on the big Meech Southwest T BMF situation, and there was a tinge of Cuffy in it. Henny, are you coming on with us? Henny, where you at? The link is in your text message. Henny, come on up here. So we're weighing in on this, on what Mr. Fishman said, because he made some statements that we think are inappropriate, erroneous, and flat out motherfucking wrong.
And misleading.
And misleading too, right? And so this is why we're doing a reactionary video or a review of what's this brother's name? We shout the brother out whose content it is. So it is, y'all go follow him, go subscribe to him, click the notification bell. It's BBG. The page is called BBG. And what we're about to review is the title is BMF Big Meech snitching allegations addressed by highly regarded Detroit legend lawyer Steve Fishman. So shout out to BBG. That's his YouTube channel. We're going to review this, and we have something to say about how they came down. Okay, I got you. So we're going to start right now. And we're going to stop and start. We're going to comment. We might even let it play all the way through, but you guys tell me where you want to stop. Let's go.
Send that link to Henny again.
I represent Terry Fleming. I met him before he was charged, and somebody introduced me to him.
Well, back to you did represent Southwest T.
I represented Terry Flannery.
Okay.
I met him before he was charged, and somebody introduced me to him, and we got to be friendly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he wanted, he didn't have a case.
Yeah.
Somebody just thought it was a good idea for him to meet me, and we sat in the car actually, and shot the shit for 20 minutes, and then we became friendly. And then, of course, the indictment came, and when the indictment came, T had never had a case before in his life. He had never spent an evening even in jail.
So that's important because he's talked about Southwest T here. He's talked about his relationship with Southwest T, the relationship he had with him prior to the BMF case, the indictment even happening. So he knew Southwest T. He had at least a conversational relationship with Southwest T before the original indictment got handed down in 2005.
When the indictment came, both of them were on the indictment, even though Demetrius was in Atlanta, and there was no bond. In federal court, you either have a bond or you have no bond. It's not like in state court, 10,000, 10% or anything like that. And as time went on, we weren't seeing eye to eye on the case. So I told T I was going to get off the case because I had some ideas of what he should do. Okay. And he was listening to some people inside maybe or whatever. So I got off the case. So long and short of it was.
So this is Steve Fishman. This is a person who was advising Southwest T long before the BMF indictment of 2005 even was handed down. He said that when the indictment was handed down, he was slated to represent Southwest T, but they didn't consummate their legal relationship because Southwest T had some different. They both didn't have. They were not on the same page in terms of what the defense should be. So he was never Southwest T's a lawyer. He's never been hired by Southwest T because, like he said, Southwest T didn't have so much as a parking ticket prior to BMF being indicted initially in 2005.
That's important. That's important.
Real
quick, that's real important, and everybody who may not be aware of this need to remember that, because as sentencing, when everybody keeps talking about what kind of legal jeopardy Meech would have been in and what kind of legal jeopardy Terry would have been in. Terry would have been in the least of jeopardy because he has no criminal history. Even if Meech was convicted of a count that only carried 10 years, he could have still got 30 years based on the United States sentencing guideline. And none of these big super duper lawyers or YouTube experts ever mention the sentencing guidelines, where you are convicted for anything you are accused of in life, not convicted of.
Right, got you.
Guilty. And they were sentenced to 360 months each, which is 30 years by my Mumford High School arithmetic. And then, and I didn't participate in that. I was done with the case by then. I certainly think we could have done better if I'd have stayed on the case.
Yeah, wow.
So this is Steve Fishman, legendary Detroit attorney. Well, listen, 20, 30, 40 years ago, if you were a mover and shaker, let's tell you who this, let's explain who this gentleman is. This is no fly-by-night ambulance chasing ass attorney. This is legendary Steve Fishman. Everybody from Butch Jones to the Best Friends to the YBI. If you had money, if you were Tommy Hearns, motherfucking White Boy Rick, the Chambers Brothers, Curry Boys, he was number one on everybody's hit parade. I think it was him, and correct me if I'm wrong, Juice. It was Steve Fishman, Cole Pepper, David Cripps, and a few more people who were like, if you had them.
Paul Curtis
was one. Paul Curtis is one, right? If you had, but Steve Fishman was at the top. He was either one or two. He wasn't three. If you had Steve Fishman, you had firepower, especially on the federal level. But he was a genius in state court as well. So just make sure we're on the same page.
Either him or his daddy. Remember his daddy too. Him or his dad.
Yes. Let's get it.
Oh wow, back to 360.
360 months is a lot. Well, because you got to remember, because of the BMF thing. See, I never even heard about that.
Yeah.
Terry he never talked like that.
Oh,
He was just another guy I knew that was involved, obviously, in something, because that's why he wanted to meet me. But he wasn't boasting and putting billboards up and all that kind of crap.
Shout out Big Meech. Terry wasn't bolstering. He wasn't putting billboards up and all that crap. That was his shot at the Atlanta faction, the LA to Atlanta faction of BMF in Atlanta, throwing the fucking billboards up, announcing to the whole fucking world, hey, look at me. I sell dope, as if selling dope was legal.
So when it came out, I was kind of learning the same as everybody else was.
So he should really discuss the Black Mafia family.
I never heard the phrase Black Mafia family ever. It wasn't like Pony Down or YBI. I never heard that phrase. Yeah. He was just Terry Flanagan. He was just a guy from Southwest. The one part of the city I never was around was Southwest Detroit. And I was fascinated just by where the streets were.
So I want you guys to key in on that. So he just named some legendary drug crews from the city of Detroit. This is Steve Fishman, right? He knows everything about all things legal, from capital murder to the highest levels of drug transaction in the city of Detroit, right? In the metropolitan Detroit area, for that matter. He and his, up until this point, he's never heard of the term BMF. That should tell you people something about. He never heard of it. YBI, Pony Down, Maserati Rick, Demetrius Holloway, Big Man, Little Man Curry, the Chambers Boys. He knows all of them. He's defended all of them. His counterparts had defended all of them. He, until this indictment, he had never heard the term BMF. That's it. And he's involved with all circles. The one part of Detroit that I never went to was Southwest Detroit. I don't fuck around over there. That should tell you something. Well, y'all want to grab hold of everything that he's saying. Y'all ain't grabbing hold of that part right there.
Wow. To tell you the truth. So, and he was a regular guy. I mean, he's a nice guy. He's just a regular guy. And whether he was involved, I assumed he was involved in something, because why else would he want to meet me? But there was no BMF and all this kind of crap.
There was no, hadn't heard of it, not on his radar. The name wasn't ringing no motherfucking bells in the city of Detroit. It adds credence and credibility to people saying that they made their legend outside of Detroit, not inside of Detroit. They ain't never ran a motherfucking thing in Detroit. They made their legend in LA, St. Louis, Memphis, Atlanta, Miami, New York. They didn't leave Detroit as the kings of the underground.
So he gets the time. And, I read it in the newspaper or somebody told me about it. And then this was back in the mid-2000s, maybe, something like that, I think, when it happened.
Yeah,
and
2005.
then he contacted me. I remember he did or somebody on his behalf. And it was in 2017. What happened was, and this is important for your audience to understand, this had nothing to do with anybody talking or snitching or doing anything at all other than doing their time. The law changed, and they had a new section of the law that changed the way the guidelines were computed.
Who changed this law here?
The government changed it. This had nothing to do with anybody in the streets or anybody talking. The law changed, and Terry contacted me. I can't remember if he himself or somebody contacted me, and he didn't have 10 cents. It wasn't like he came and said, "Oh, I've got 30,000 for you if you can do this." But I always liked the guy. He was just
He didn't have 10 cents. So this is the almighty BMF. The almighty BMF squad. Somebody contacted Steve Fishman, who in 2017, he hadn't retired yet. He was still the king of the hill, or at the top of Detroit's criminal defense Mount Rushmore. Somebody contacted him on Terry's behalf to file some litigation for him because the laws had changed, and then they felt like he was due some relief. He didn't have 10 cents to his name. He didn't have 10 cents to his name. All right. So we're on the same page here.
good guy.
Wow.
Can I help him? I said, I think I can help you.
Ooh, wow.
So I looked it up, and looking up, he got 360 months because of the way the sentencing guidelines were before the law changed. Mm-hmm. And when the law changed, the guidelines would have been reduced to 292 months. That's a 68-month reduction because of the change in the law. I contacted the prosecutor on the case, and I told her that Terry had contacted me, and I think the law is pretty clear, and she agreed. And that was on like the third day, and we submitted something to Judge Cohn, who was still the judge back in those days, and he signed the sentencing reduction, and it's in the file. Right. If anybody, all these people think they can go look at federal files, you can see the order back in 2017, reducing T's sentence from 360 to 292. So he got 68 months over almost 6 years off his back. And then when the pandemic came, he contacted me. I think he contacted me to say they had let him out because his health was bad.
And you do this all as a courtesy because you like the guy.
Yeah. I've never charged him 50 cents for anything since then. Yeah. So
he did it out of courtesy. He didn't have any money to give him. This is 2017. So they went from Sugar Hill to a shit pile over the course of their incarceration. And by that time, they had been gone 12 years. So in a decade, they went from being multimillionaires to having nothing, to the point to where he basically took on this situation for him pro bono.
Same time, his brother, I think, was hoping to get the same reduction.
Now, did Demetrius, did he take advantage of the new change in the law?
I'm going to tell you about it, but it didn't. Not in 2017. Okay. Somebody contacted me who said they were with him, and would I be willing to do it for him? And I said, well, I don't really know him. Right. And, I knew what I was doing, and I knew who I was dealing with.
I don't really know him. Somebody contacted him on Big Meech's behalf. I don't really know him. Don't have a relationship with him. Don't know anything about him except that he put up giant fucking life-size, larger-than-life billboards like Scarface saying that the world is ours, as if drug dealing was legal.
The only thing I knew about Meech was, of course, all that BMF crap down south, which really brought the feds all over everybody. Wow.
All I knew about Big Meech was all of this crap and everything that he was doing that really brought the feds all over everybody. he's familiar with TNT's case, right? He's familiar with TNT's case. So he's saying that Big Meech's behavior is what brought in Atlanta and wherever they went is what brought the feds all over the case. So he's condemning Big Meech in that way, despite the fact that he does understand that T is the one who got caught on wiretap discussing business. He jumped over that and said, hey, Big Meech's behavior in Atlanta with the billboards and all that kind of shit, that made them boys hot. That was the thing that made everybody hot.
And I kind of was, well, I don't know him. It'd be kind of odd. And I didn't want to take any money from him. So I said, no. And then for some reason, instead of getting somebody else, I went and looked it up knowing I was going to be talking with you. I don't think he got his sentence reduced for like another 3 or 4 or 5 years, even though the law was in place in 2017. But in any event, that's something that people should know because of all this talk back and forth. That is he a snitch? He's not any goddamn snitch. Wow. The law changed and his sentence went from 360 to 292 as well. And then, from what I understand, he was sent to the halfway house, which, you know, people have to understand, again, for those of you who are listening to this, when you get a federal sentence, unlike a state court sentence in Michigan, if you get a state court sentence, there's no good time, no halfway house, no nothing. If you get 2 years, you do 2 years, 24 months to the day, okay? That's not the feds. People need to understand that. In the feds, you get 54 days a year good time, which is pretty much 2 months, okay? You can also go to the halfway house within 6 months of whatever your release date is. So when you get a long sentence like he had, 360 months, you're talking about 30 years times 2 months a year of good time. That's 5 years. That's 60 months off of it to begin with. Right. So now it's 292, and now it's 5 years off of that. Now it's 232, and he did all that time.
And that's what everybody's saying, that there's a 5-year window that hasn't been served. That's the whole chatter. Like
a 5-year window? What do you mean window?
When I say window, I mean like he has 5 more years to do that he's not doing.
He first thing, are they all geniuses? They understand the federal system?
That's why I came with you.
No, I'm saying these people who are talking about
these are YouTubers, Steve. These guys just flip-flop. They got their own microphone.
So what I'm telling you is before they start talking, maybe they should talk to somebody who knows something about the federal criminal justice system.
So let's do that. Let's talk to someone or to someone's who knows about the federal criminal justice system. Let's talk about it. My illustrious panel, DC Black Podcast, Eon Williams, Uncle Juice, the Beat Factory 313, and
what up,
everybody's favorite drink, every hood nigga's favorite beverage, who's looking at good lit, that girl Henny.
Now, why you gotta give me that introduction, dog face?
I had to do, man.
I am not every nigga's favorite drink, okay? I'm not for everybody.
You're right. Hey, Henny. Now, wait, hold on, Henny. Somebody named Ebony J just sent you $1.99, Henny. It is
Thank you very much for the super chat.
Right.
That still don't make me everybody drink, though. I'm not for every nigga.
Well, we got somebody before we start. Hey, this guy, Mike Craig, finessed analyzer, ain't watching this goofy shit. Hey, who was this guy on? He got Juice. Is he on your line?
He ain't on mine.
He ain't on mine.
He got rid of him.
Who's this guy? Mike Craig. He on your line?
You know, I'm new to seeing it like this. I ain't hip. Let me look.
On the chat. You know him?
You might have a thing on your thing. If you see a thing with his name at, that mean he on yours.
Okay, I got it. Let me look. I don't see him. I seen that John too.
Mike Craig.
He can go though. He out of line.
Hey, Mike Craig, we finna block your bitch ass.
I couldn't get rid of him.
Ain't no man.
I don't represent for no weirdos, no way.
No, he on your shit, E. He on your line. We finna block your bitch ass. We finna explain to E how to block your bitch ass, you cocksucking ass nigga, with your ugly ass mammy. We finna block your bitch ass, boy. Count down. Make your comments right now, bitch. Cause we finna block your cocksucking ass. That's for shit show. Mike Williams, you get him?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. All right, bye-bye, bitch. So listen, we just heard. So what we're about to do is about to review and analyze exactly what we just heard from Steve Fishman. I already said who he is. There is no doubt. There is no refuting about his legal acumen and about who he is. Let's get right into it. First of all, Steve Fishman said that he was familiar with Southwest T. He had a relationship with Southwest T, at least a conversational one, prior to the BMF indictment of 2005 coming down. He says that he has no relationship with Big Meech except for knowing once everything happened, when he started to analyze it, he looked at all the things that he thought was inappropriate in his behavior. So, what say you? What say y'all about what Mr. Fishman had to say?
What I think about what Mr. Fishman had to say, I think that, you know, all the credentials that y'all explained about him, that goes without saying for me, but he's only speaking about analyzing Demetrius' 360-month sentence. He analyzed that. He spoke about that. Those time cuts are right. I do understand federal sentencing, and I don't believe that anyone on this panel ever challenged were those time cuts correct. My issue personally is, did he attempt to do something, and is he the reason Cuffy got locked up? That's my issue. He can explain that for 30 hours. Everything he said was correct. I'm done with him.
Right, and that's what I feel. He wasn't talking about the matter at hand. He's speaking on what Meech went to jail for their case. We not speaking on Meech case or Terry case. We speaking on Cuffy case and anybody else that he spoke on cases. You feel me? So he can't say what Meech did once he got incarcerated. He's speaking on before facts. You feel me? So that's what the people and he misleading the people because he talking like this the whole hookup. No, that ain't what Meech being questioned about. He being questioned about once he got in there, did he start having this lady interact with individuals to set them up for him to get a time cut? Fishman can't speak on what he did behind closed doors. He allowed to say that because you wasn't his attorney, so you can't say what Meech did in private with the federal agents because it's not gonna be public to him. You feel me?
Annie?
I agree with that. I mean, when Meech first came home, you know, his paperwork was broke down a long time ago. So I think everybody knows that. I totally agree. That's not the subject at hand. That's not what people are out here fighting in comment sections, trolling and feuding about. It's everything else. So for you to be someone who has all of these credentials, this expertise from, you know, what you're saying, because I don't know him. I'm listening to what you're telling me and what he's handled and what he knows. For you to give one portion of the story is misinformation. You're not covering the whole thing. So while he's correct in what he's saying, he's incorrect in the whole situation and how it unfolded.
I also believe that the person that was interviewing him also didn't have enough information to question him about. He only questioned him about his sentence and did he get out early. No, he didn't get out early on his sentence. The time cuts are official. I don't think that really has a place in the context of the bigger conversation of did he set Cuffy up?
It doesn't have a place in it. Two things, maybe three. Right? Let me get my pen. And when I get my pen, I'll be doing my work. When I get that pen in my hand, you know what I'm saying? It reminds me of when I was, sitting here, my lawyer used to have a pen, right? So you're being interviewed by somebody, and it's not even really an interview. It's really just it smacks like a press conference. It reminds me of what Big Meech did leading up to the concert that didn't happen, right? You might as well have just said, here, press record and go, because you really want to talk about the snitching allegations. You don't want to say Cuffy's name because you don't know anything about it. You haven't studied it. You haven't researched it. You haven't done your due diligence that would make it, even from a Monday morning quarterback perspective, would make you knowledgeable enough about it to talk about it, right? You might as well have just press record and let him go. Because you didn't, the guy who interviewed him, BBG, whoever you are, salute to you, brother, but you were not qualified. because they're using this interview or this conversation, because it wasn't an interview in the truest sense of the word interview. They're using this to try to debunk or to try to challenge what's going on with Cuffy's situation. When Steve Fishman says that he's no rat, how in the fuck, what evidence did you offer in your long ass soliloquy about knowing Terry and Meech throwing up billboards about being a fucking drug dealer in Atlanta? What facts did you introduce? Do you think that in the YouTube streets, Mr. Fishman, do you think that your word alone is going to carry the day for people who are trying to get around this big Demetrius situation? No, sir-ree. Nice try, Mr. Fishman. I don't know how much they paid you for that infomercial. I don't know what they compensated you with to come out and offer that bullshit ass diatribe that has nothing to fucking do with nothing we talking about. But see, the reason why I'm on your ass, Mr. Fishman, is because you mentioned all this stuff they're talking about. I don't know all this stuff they're talking about. They're no snitch. They're no blah, blah, blah. You crossed the line, Mr. Fishman. You crossed the line when you did that there. That's why your ass,
You big dummy. You big dummy. You big dummy. You big cold-blooded dummy. You big dummy. See what you did?
you see what you did? Now we got to cut you. And I didn't want to do that. I don't take no pride in having to set a fire up under your ass, Mr. Fishman. But now we got to get in your ass for trying to mislead the culture. Who want to start this shit off? DC back, bring your ass. Come on with this here.
All right, we're gonna bring him up to speed real quick. First and foremost, let's not forget that Suarez, I'm not gonna act like I know specifically when he met Demetrius, but at some point he got a number from Demetrius or got a number from someone associated with Demetrius, contacted Tammy, told Tammy that he wanted to, check on Demetrius. Some type of way in that relationship, he introduced it a conversation about pills. I don't know what major drug dealer or drug trafficker would introduce or would call someone that they didn't know and had no one vouch for and offer to do business. And then at some point later, he directed Cuffy to contact Tammy. And I ain't gonna give up the whole story again that had been told 1,000 times. The linchpin is Tammy and Demetrius. The thing that links Cuffy to being arrested is a wiretap that come from an affidavit that Demetrius' name was in, that the information was given by Tammy. I don't want to hear anything from Fishman, Johnny Cochran, Perry Mason, or anyone else if they're not talking about that connection. And I stop there and let everybody else do they think, because we can go deeper down that rabbit hole.
There's nothing else to go to. Because
we can go to some other things, because I got a whole nother play that I think that the Demetrius be running. But we can
but listen. So let's make sure we're on the same page here. Hey, Mr. Fishman, you said nothing about anything surrounding or involving the allegations surrounding Dion Cuffy Gatlin, Tammy Collins, Demetrius Flannery. The heart of what you were talking about was about the elements in their case and the time cut. You said, hey, their time cut wasn't about anything other than the laws changing and then him being qualified for a reduced sentence because of the applicable good time and credits that he was eligible to receive. Said nothing about it. Hey, Mr. Fishman, respectfully, sir, that has nothing to do with what the fuck we talking about right here. Nothing at all. Period. Simple as that. You can't use what you know about Terry. You already admitted that you know nothing about Big Meech. Nothing. Everything you learned about Big Meech was after the indictment. Later on, years later, when you chose to look at or research or study or inquire or conversate about the whole BML situation like most lawyers would have done. Most lawyers had conversations about big cases such as that, especially when they're the main components of the indictment are from the city you're from. So that's cool. But Mr. Fishman, when it comes to this, You need to go sit your motherfucking ass down. So whoever told you to get up there and do that motherfucking infomercial, right? You need to give them their motherfucking money back. Or if you did it voluntarily, that's even worse because that means you voluntarily without any, you almost like Tammy Collins. Without no financial gain, you march your white pale ass up there, your pale white ass up there and tried to mislead the general public, and we don't like it. So therefore, this is a proverbial spanking for you, Mr. Fishman. You take this with a grain of salt, go sit your retired ass down, and don't bring your ass back up here to the YouTube street. I bet not see you again. Up here trying to mislead no black folk. Make sure I need somebody watching this, clip this out, and send it to Mr. Fishman. Don't you bring your pale ass back up here. Not another motherfucking time trying to mislead black folk or folk of the culture. Or next time, I'm not going to be so nice to you, Mr. Fishman. Right now, we letting you get away because you retired. You sit up there with that old oak wood desk trying to be fancy. Now go on, hit on and stay your ass out the YouTube streets. Eon Williams, can we get into what we have found out, what you have found out in your extensive research? You are a researching motherfucker.
Yeah, but before I do that, I keep seeing it in the comments, right? If more than one person that says that you can't get the Rule 35 1 year after you go to jail or conviction or something, they keep saying you can get a Rule 35 anytime you provide substantial cooperation and the U.S. Attorney's Office files the Rule 35 for you. Please stop saying that or correct me with law. I looked the law up. Bring me the U.S. code that says you can only get Rule 35 1 year after you go in. I can name 3 dudes right now off the top of my head that got Rule 35s more than a decade after incarceration. So let's stop that. And get back to what you said, Dog Face. It's a situation that I ran across reading the Daniel Corral case. Now, me said Daniel Corral was telling them. I see somebody here thought they were saying something slick by saying that in Cuffy situation, Meech is only in the affidavit. So correct. He's an unindicted co-conspirator in that affidavit. It has nothing to do with what happened later where with the 2 keys after he was passed on to another informant to give some other stuff going on. But don't forget that the wiretap comes from Tammy. We can't separate that from nothing that happened to Cuffy. But I believe that this was a play that Meech was running. Now, if Meech got arrested in 2005, I just want to ask the panel, if he got arrested in 2005, does that case stops there, right?
The BMF indictment, the case that he was indicted on.
It stops there, right?
Well, it starts there with that indictment, and what he was convicted for falls within the parameters of that indictment. Yeah, so yeah, what they were indicting for stops there.
Okay, so my point is this. From 2005 on, anything he's accused of is a new crime. So I'm not going to keep asking rhetorical questions. I'm going to get to the point. From 2005, anything he did is a new crime. This Daniel Corral case, as I read it, almost everybody in that case turned informant. In that case, there are multiple testimonies of cocaine shipments and cocaine deals in the year of 2006 and 2007. So for all y'all to keep comparing it exactly verbatim to the Cuffy situation, in that case, Demetrius Flynn defendant to the time the U.S. Attorney's Office charged you with a thing.
Hold on, brother. Back up because you froze out. Back up about 30 seconds and come back forward. From 2004 with the Daniel Corral case.
All right, from the Daniel Corral case, once he caught this case, anything that's alleged in that case pertaining to Demetrius occurs in 2006 and 2007. That means this is a new investigation. As they testified in court for this case, they didn't testify about an unindicted co-conspirator. They testified about a co-defendant. Now, I'm talking about Oscar Dillon. I'm talking about Daniel Corral, and I'm going to get to something about this girl, Kashawn Robinson. Now, The U.S. attorney don't do no favors. Everybody keep talking about, oh, they didn't want to overkill that. I know, bro. I got a partner right now, a homie of mine by the name of Kevin Gray. They got 19 life sentences. When does the U.S. attorney's office say, oh, no, 30 years is just enough? Now, that's just my point I'm making. They knew in this case, from the testimony in this case with Daniel Corral, that Fishman Robinson caught a plane from Atlanta, Georgia, to St. Louis, Missouri, got in a silver Charger, got $10,000 that Meech asked for, and they have this recorded in over 3,000 recorded calls from this wiretap. She went, after she got the $10,000, back to the airport in St. Louis. The DEA is on it the whole time. They stop her. She don't give them permission to search her bag. They take her to an office somewhere else, get a dog, search her bag, get the money. I don't know what happened after that. We're going to go into that later. But my point is that this is not for play. They're getting paid to do this. They crack her with the money, investigate this, and all this is a part of the case in a case that happened after 2005. They are alleged from 400 to 500 keys after 2005. I believe that this is a play that Meech ran, and I can read some of it to you, but just going off the top of my head, it's nowhere in the world he can be in multiple cases, getting $10,000 and $15,000 and $20,000 finder's fee, and everybody goes to jail. So let me make the comparison before I shut up. Daniel Corral, the guy Sims, Oscar Dillon, Fishman Robinson, sounds just like Vidal Suarez, Demetrius Flannery, and Dion Gatlin. All of them went to jail. Demetrius is not charged. I don't know how he got out of this one. He's a co-defendant in this. And then years later, because of Cuffy, it pops up. I don't know what happens in between, but don't this sound very close to the same play that was ran on Cuffy? All of them went to jail. The same play, but Demetrius is not punished ever again. He's a co-defendant in that case.
Read that paperwork so they know you just ain't making up nothing. Because see, they like to think we just going off on our personal opinion.
Will do, like I don't see a lot of other people do, is I will give you the case number. The case is 207-CR01215-SJ0, and I'm coming from document 891. Okay, it says right here, this is Sims, the other person that's in this conspiracy thing that happened just like Cuffy thing happened before. It says Sims testified that in August 2007, 2 years after that other case is done, the incarcerated Flannery asked Dillon to pay back $10,000 of a drug debt Dillon owed to Flannery. It's in 2007, y'all. Sims explained that Flannery's girlfriend, Fishman Robinson, was to fly to St. Louis to meet with Dillon, who would give her the money for Flannery. The government introduced calls in which Sims instructed a co-conspirator to take Robinson to see Muscles. Muscles later turns out to be a person by the name of Oscar Dillon. Same play with Cuffy. Now let me read you more. Not from the same joint, just from different parts of it, all right? Now, they asked again when they are testifying about who are other participants in this same conspiracy like the Cuffy conspiracy. They asked him, do you recognize anyone in the courtroom that talking about somebody else? They say yes. They say, who is that? They say Demetrius Flannery, right? Now, who is the other person in the courtroom? Oscar Dillon. I don't have all the answers in this, but Demetrius Flannery is in the courtroom at a point in time that we're never talking about again. He's a co-defendant in the case. Funny? All right, let's go to another part. They asked him again when he's naming the people that's involved in this other conspiracy after 2005 and 2007. I'm skipping straight to the parts that's highlighted, okay? Who is the person that's this person? The name that comes across is Big Meech. Where is Demetrius Flannery now? When they're talking about where's he housed now? He said incarcerated somewhere in Detroit. This is after incarceration. He's in the St. Clair County Jail. So that means they took him out of the St. Clair County Jail. Somebody didn't know he was going in and out, and he was going to court for other than the BMF case. Fishman, how you say his name?
Fishman.
Fishman. Other than the case he just sold. I seen people in the comments say, are we smarter than him? We ain't here to be smarter than him. We saying that he didn't talk about something that we're talking about. And this is just one of other cases that he's involved in on 3,000 recorded phone calls that are wiretapped by a person that he sent to someone else. He sent them to the supplier. The supplier was Daniel Corral. He sent Daniel Corral a customer, Oscar Dillon. In the process of that, he had a finder's fee in it, and they all get cracked and they all go to jail. He don't get no time. Let me go to the next part. Did you know, Oscarville, during the time that you worked for Demetrius Flannery? This is the informant. Everybody that's involved in this shit is an informant. He says, yes. Do you know whether Oscarville knew Oscar Dillon knew Demetrius Flannery during the time period? Yes. Okay. And what was Demetrius Flannery relationship to Oscar Dillon? Customer. Demetrius places suppliers with customers, and then all of a sudden they go to jail. Y'all want me to keep going, or you what?
No, so let's deal with this first. See, Mr. Smooth Paul says, that's the Mexican that was set to testify against Big Meech and Terry. Okay, so listen. True. That's true. But you're testifying, the Corrales, you're testifying against Big Meech about something that transpired.
That y'all did together. 3 of them robbed the bank. Come on, it ain't rocket science. 3 of them robbed the bank. One of them telling, 2 of them actually telling, but one of them is telling on the other, and Flannery is one of them.
Right. And so
he don't got no extra time for the bank robbery when everybody telling. And he put the bank robbery together, just like he put the bank robbery together with Suarez and Cuffy. He keep orchestrating all the bank robberies. The dude, Barry Mills, went to jail. The Aryan Brotherhood guy, he went to jail for planning an armed robbery from prison. They gave him another charge and took him out of state prison and sent him to federal prison, bro. They charge you when you are a mastermind or something. They charge you when you participate in something, bro. That's what y'all keep talking about who been in the feds. Bro, I got multiple charges in the feds. I spent 17 years in the feds. Don't talk that fed, lawyer, pistol, this guy sold metric bricks. So what about metric bricks? The Rule 35 gets served to a person that tailed on a small level or tailed on a big level. I ain't saying that he told. I ain't saying we're going to file a 5K1. I ain't saying we're going to file a Rule 35. I'm saying how the fuck do he create basketball teams everywhere he go, and the basketball teams go to jail, and he don't go to jail, he don't get charged, and he don't get no extra time? That's what I'm saying.
Real spill.
While incarcerated, you're orchestrating multiple drug transactions.
And the feds follow your mule from Georgia to St. Louis, bro. They don't do that for free. That costs tens of thousands of dollars. That's surveillance, if y'all don't know. Y'all think y'all watching BMF? Y'all think this is a movie? To follow someone from Atlanta, Georgia on a plane to another airport to a hood in St. Louis near you to get $10,000 in rubber band D-boy money the flat way, not the folded way you broke niggas be doing the money, D-boy way, and put it in a suitcase and go to an airport, and the DEA followed the whole time and crack you with the paper, and no foul, no harm. Ain't even a tech. Bruh, Stevie Wonder can see what the play is. Then the dude keeps saying, Meech is too big to cooperate and get a deduction. Bro, you got dudes that get multiple Rule 35s. What is you niggas talking about? You got dudes that get 6 months off the sentence, 2 months off the sentence. I just gave you the case of Dexter Hubbard. He got 2 months off a 292-month sentence, and he said 2 months wasn't enough. The judge said, you're right. His wife cooperated from him from prison. I'm going to give him 24 months. This rat, third-party rat, said, no, 2 years is not enough. And I only know the case. Why? Because he filed an appeal in the Northern District of Georgia saying that y'all owe me at least 60 months. And he had to keep working. Don't tell me you can't get 2 months, 6 years. It's about how big the catch is. It's about how much you cooperate. It's about how bad the U.S. Attorney's Office want to file the Rule 35 for you. But I know every time that Demetrius get caught up in a conspiracy, the U.S. Attorney Office leave it alone.
So there's an analogy that came up off air. We talked about Allen Iverson's basketball career, about his shot percentage. How does Allen Iverson's career and his shot percentage?
How does the same way I told you with them rats, man? You got to shoot the ball 60 times to score 30 points. You keep going, Rayful Wetman, who I consider the biggest rat in U.S. federal government history, cooperated for 14 years. He told his way out of 1 life sentence, gave his mother the benefit, then told his way out of 2 more life sentences, and brought his rat ass home in 35 years. Bruh, they cooperate over and over and over again. He cooperated in Pennsylvania. He cooperated in the District of Columbia. He cooperated in South Carolina. And he cooperated in Los Angeles, bruh. They do not just play ball in one arena, bruh. They play ball in the federal arena. Just like the NBA got teams from New York to the Bay Area, they got rats that could go all over the room, just like a Harlem Globetrotter, and go in any courtroom and cooperate. Bruh, don't act like Meech ain't that type of dude. I believe he was always dealing with informants. I believe he was always trading information. And I believe that he think he's smarter than any other nigga that was a big time dope boy. That's what I think.
Henny, what say you?
What is there to say? He just broke everything down. He just gave you paperwork backing up. And this ain't even got nothing to do with everything that everybody's debating right now. What you just blew my head back because I didn't know nothing about what you're reading. So I'm sitting here like, oh. But y'all don't find that's not something that sparks in your head. Like what I'm finding is a lot of common sense ain't so common. We already knew that, but I'm really seeing it because what makes logical sense when you put 2 and 2 together, it's always 4. They're trying to make 2 and 2 make 12. And my stance, like I said, I've never been to federal. I've had people go to federal. I've people who, been in and out of county, state all my life. So for me, I don't speak from that perspective because I can't. I don't have a dog in that fight. But even from my perspective as a female who's been in the street, even if you want to take the paperwork off the table, I've always said, even if you take the paperwork off the table, his moves, his actions, everything is in violation of street code, moral, and principle. There's no getting around it. So no matter what you try to say, no matter what you try to do, you can't get around that. Now you've got a whole nother case that happened after he gets incarcerated, where he's in another person's paperwork. And this person ain't speaking, but he's in their paperwork. Now it's got to make you start to wonder, how many other cases are we going to come up with that his name is in there, where there's cooperation involved, where people got taken down? How many more are out there? So I think people, y'all got to take, and excuse me, because I'm going to get vulgar for a second, and I'm probably going to piss some people off. Take the dick out your mouth and open up your eyes, because a lot of y'all are dick sucking with your eyes closed. Open up your eyes. Listen, use your critical thinking skills and hear what's being told to you. That's all I'm going to say. I don't have nothing else to say after that. I think DC, salute. Okay.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. Let me say this for Dollface, move on. This Meech thing is a side product of what I do. Where I'm from, you got people think that, I just be clowning. Bro, I catch rats for fun. Like I read paperwork and all the secret rats where I'm from that still want to be on the internet, still want to be tough guys, still want to mislead the youth. I find that paperwork. I see all the secret moves they make now. In this Meech situation, I read thousands of pages just because I've never seen nothing like it. I've never seen a big time D-boy. Not just I'm gonna give everybody a pass on the unindicted co-conspirator. They ain't charging. I don't know how. You know what I mean? The affidavit came in. They got the wiretap on Cuffy phone. They locked Cuffy up. But to skip that one, to go to the Daniel Corral thing, because somebody told me last night, DC Blacks, you late. That's old. He was indicted with this and indicted with that. I don't care that you don't understand that after 2005, everything is new. That's like a new season. You dig what I'm saying? Patrick Mahomes ain't win this year. It's Jalen Hurts year. You kind of act like Patrick Mahomes is still the quarterback, the Super Bowl quarterback. It's over as a new season. After 2005, it's a new season. So he's saying that he got bricks from Meech, connected to Meech in 2007 on a new case. Y'all want to sit here and act like that's just an unindicted co-conspirator. That is a co-defendant. If my co-defendant, no, scratch that, not me. If Meech, Daniel Corral, and Oscar Dillon went in a house and Daniel Corral raped someone, Meech, Daniel Corral, and Oscar Dillon would all have a rape charge. Do y'all get that? So how can everybody sell hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kilos, but one person that is a co-defendant don't get a sentence for it? Now, I'm going to go deep into it. with Fidel Suarez, when everybody kept saying what happened to him, instead of me waiting for another YouTuber to figure out what happened to him, I went and looked this case up. Fidel Suarez, the 2005 case that he caught when he met Meech in St. Clair County Jail, he has an acquittal order. So that means he went to a trial, got found not guilty, and walked out of a jail. So in the Daniel Corral case, all we see for thousands of pages is cooperation. But what happened to Meech at the end of that adjudication? Did he get a not guilty? Did he get a dismiss? He was charged. I'm gonna leave it there. He was charged. He was a co-defendant. He ain't get away with, however, they figured out how to evolve as third-party cooperators. You know what I'm saying? In the Cuffy case, some type of way, he was just an undoubted co-conspirator. But he always got a Tammy. Whoever, I'm not going to disrespect this Kashawn Robinson because I haven't found anything in it to say that she was a cooperator. But Kashawn Robinson is the same version of what role Tammy Cowens played minus the cooperation, because I haven't found that yet. But he was running Kashawn Robinson around the town, just like Tammy, picking up money, and the DEA knew it and was letting her travel until they popped her with the money. I'm saying it's the same play.
It's the same play.
It's the same play.
Let me just.
And how many other plays, like she said, is it? I'm gonna find another one. If I find a third one, I ain't talking about this no more. I'm gonna find a third one. I bet you I find a third one.
So listen. So in the Daniel Corrals case, people are saying, well, that's the Mexican cartel guy who was testifying on Meech and T.
In that case, and they got a whole new case after that.
Okay, so the Daniel Corrals case happened after the BMF indictment.
This one that I'm talking about.
Right.
This one right here, I read the case number 2. If somebody go back and watch the video, if they want to nitpick that much, but that case involved drug dealing between 2005 and 2007. They could play that number game with another nigga. I know how to look at the docket.
Right. So here you have a man who's in prison orchestrating a drug transaction with multiple people from inside the federal penitentiary system.
And multiple conspiracies.
And multiple layers of conspiracies and multiple.
Yeah, because the Daniel Corral case is charged in the Eastern District of Michigan, and we all know the Cuffy case is charged in St. Louis. He in multiple cases in multiple jurisdictions all over the country, bro. And y'all still saying it don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter.
Okay.
I ain't saying say you're a rat, but I'm saying explain all these different conspiracies where he just walks away.
He just
get out early.
One of the key components you said is where is the disposition of a case? Was it dismissed? Did he get time served? Did he get probation?
Let's put some of the Meech fans to work. Why don't y'all go out there and find out what happened? How was the disposition of that case? Because I can't find it. Y'all want to defend Meech on this one? Go find out how he stopped being a co-defendant. Was it dismissed?
And give him the case. Give him the case to do the research on. Give him the case. Give him the case number. So for all the big Meech fans, all you dick biting, dick eating ass niggas, we're going to give you niggas. So 504 Streets, he said he pulled the paperwork on what's the disposition? What happened?
What happened? Like I found out Suarez beat it. He couldn't be a rat. I mean, I ain't gonna say that, but evidently the paperwork say that. I don't know, like, was they gonna create a Blandone like on the Rick Ross joke? Did they create a person and send them to jail with a case and let them go to trial? I don't think they did all that for them. Suarez got an acquittal. I understand what happened to him. He got caught with $65,000 in an 18-wheeler at a Home Depot in Dearborn, Michigan. All his co-defendants went down and he beat it. He met Demetrius while he was fighting the case, and then he met Tammy after that. And he still walked away, but he beat it. But he walked away.
Give him the case number. Give the defendants of that case that Big Meech.
All right, this is the United States versus Keon Payne. That's whose name this is under, and all that testimony comes in this. Which is, I didn't even go into his case. This comes out of his case. So technically, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is a third case, right? Technically, it's case number CR07. Anytime you hear CR07 in federal law, that means the case initiated in 2007, 2 years after Demetrius is incarcerated. Case number CR071215ASJO. Y'all can get the joint yourself. I put it in the chat. I send it to Dogface. And in this case, Demetrius is charged, and they are the people that are testifying against him are testifying to drug deals that occurred between 2005 and 2007.
So did you Big Meech fans hear that?
So y'all can go through it. This document right here is 270 some pages. The next one is 137. You got to spend a couple dollars. But if y'all want to defend him, stop defending that nigga from Google. Defend that nigga from Pacer.
So once again, for all the Big Meech's support system, I'm not going to disrespect y'all right now. I'm going to tell y'all that Big Meech's name, not Terry's, Meech, Demetrius. His name is in multiple indictments after the BMF indictment.
Yeah, this one right here got a drug deal from November 2007, bro. That's not a part of that shit. That's a new conspiracy. November 2007.
That's not BMF indictment. And so for all you people who saying, well, it has to be a 5K1, it has to be a post conviction, it has to be a Rule 35B prior to conviction, it has to be a 5K1, it has to be a Rule 35 post conviction. Let me tell you, stupid dumb ass nigga, something. B, like I'm gonna put my New York swag on you, stupid. Hey, Henny, can I borrow the Yonkers? Let me tell you niggas something. Let me tell you, stupid ass niggas who think y'all know the streets and think y'all know the feds, right? You stupid ass niggas, let me help save you bitch ass niggas' lives. Niggas, the feds knock niggas every day and send them right on their way. The feds will knock a nigga right now at 5:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They will let him up a go and make that goddamn drop, and they will debrief him after he make that goddamn drop. Or the feds will get a motherfucker today. They will lock you up at 5:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and the day of our Lord. They will get your ass and they will take you down to the federal holding facility. They will debrief you. They will tag it. They will toe tag your ass right there, right? Give you a hot ass phone with the same phone number you got and let you go. Your man been calling you. Then what happened? Oh, I went to go fuck this bitch. But y'all stupid ass niggas don't know that the nigga been with the feds the last 3 hours. Y'all think he was fucking a hoe. But really he was down there in the federal holding, a secret fed house, getting the brief on the west side of Detroit, you stupid ass niggas. Y'all don't have a clue.
How they playing it.
Let these niggas go, and these niggas ain't even went nowhere. They haven't even been gone off the board long enough for you guys to really be suspicious about where the fuck they been for the last 3-4 days, 2 weeks. No, nigga, that nigga instantly. You muted up, Eon.
My bad. I was going. Let me read a little bit of another piece of this stuff we talking about. This the rat on us. This the other informant. Everybody deal with as an informant, and I don't have proof of this part. But I got a call from St. Louis yesterday that said that this guy, this Sims guy that's telling in this case, they are telling me that he had told on Meech prior. I don't have proof of this, but they're alleging that Meech already knew he was an informant, just like Terry knew Tammy was an informant and she still was visiting him. They are alleging in St. Louis that Sims told in another case and Meech went back and dealt with him again in order to set these other plays up. That's speculation. I ain't proved that, but this is court document right here, okay? It says, did you plead guilty as part of a written agreement with the government? Yes, I did. Did that plea agreement require that you provide your cooperation? Yes, it did. Are you currently under indictment in another case? Yes, I am. What are you charged with in that case? The same thing, conspiracy. And is that a federal case? Yes, conspiracy. And where was that indictment lodged? Detroit, Michigan. This Corral, his case, he come out of California. Detroit, Michigan is his answer. Have you pleaded guilty in that case? No, I haven't. Why? Because he's still working. Have you been offered a plea agreement in that case? No, I haven't. Are you hoping to be offered a plea agreement in that case? Yes, I do. This is how these rats formulate, okay? What United States Attorney's Office are you dealing with in this case? Stop right there. Remember I said they can play ball with any United States Attorney office that's willing to play with them? Now, the federal judge in Detroit, Michigan is saying, what other United States Attorney's office are you working with? This judge is on the bench in Detroit, Michigan. He already know he working with the U.S. Attorney's Office out of Detroit, Michigan, right? So he's asking about a U.S. Attorney office in another state, right? Boom, Detroit, Michigan. That's good enough for me. Boom, it goes on. Well, what cell phones for different customers are you talking about? He goes into all the 3,000 calls. I'm not going to reiterate that. I'm going to get down to the bottom. Then he says, now, question. Now, do you know a person by the name of Ralph Sims? This is the person that Meech was dealing with that connected these places. Now we got his first name. I couldn't remember. Ralph Sims. Ralph Sims. He says, absolutely. When did you first meet Ralph Sims? Late 2006. Almost 2 years after Meech locked up. He met Ralph Sims 2 years later, introduced by who? None other than y'all boy, Big Meech. Okay, 2006. And who introduced you to Ralph Sims? Wayne Joyner. Who is Wayne Joyner? Another customer of who? Demetrius Flannery. You ain't got to read that part. Now, was he a customer? Yes, he was a customer. Did you know Sims by any other name other than Ralph Sims? Sure. His name on the street was Paco. When did you learn that his name actually was Ralph Sims? After we got indicted. Did Sims call you by your real name? No, he wouldn't. What was the name he called you by? He called me by Hugo or Nice. Okay, Hugo is Daniel Corral. Code word for Hugo Boss, the one that got all the work, the boss, Hugo Boss. I got that out of Discovery. Boom, Hugo Boss. Okay, where did your first meeting with Ralph Sims take place? Let's say 06 at the Marriott Hotel. Meech been in jail 2 years almost. He running a play from the hotel in Detroit at the hotel, the Marriott Hotel. The Marriott Hotel where? Do you recall which Marriott Hotel? No, it wasn't in Detroit. I forgot. It was by LAX. They running the play out of Cali. He corrected himself on the stand. And do you recall who was present at that meeting then? Sims? Sure. Wayne Joyner, Robert Salazar, and a couple of other people from St. Louis. How is St. Louis connected to all this shit? Demetrius Flannery. Bam. What was the purpose of your meeting with Sims? The purpose was to talk about drugs, kilos of cocaine. Yeah. Did you and Sims arrange drug deals or sales after that meeting? Yes, we did. And when was that? When did that happen? Sometime after 2006. Then I'm going to skip to the next part of the highlighting. Well, all right, turning your attention to the first transaction with Mr. Sims in late 2006. What did you sell him? Kilos of cocaine was the first. Do you recall how many kilos were involved in that first deal? I can't give you an actual amount, but it was between 15 and 20 kilos. In that particular case, do you recall who supplied the kilos? Yeah, his man Wilbur. And now you had mentioned, it's 1,000 names in here. Before that, you had been calling your cocaine, you had been getting your cocaine from somebody by the name of Shasha, right? Yes. How did Wilbur get into that picture? Wilbur became one of my suppliers sometime in 2005 or 2004. And then what happened to Shasha? Shasha was still around, but there was a lot of money that he owed, so we couldn't do business with him. Okay, next question. I see. And did you have any other suppliers in addition to Wilbur? Yes, I did. And who was that? Guess how the other guys come in. Remember his name. Who was the other supplier? Yvonne Vasquez. They say, now, is that the same Yvonne Vasquez? The same one to whom you are married to? This nigga telling on his wife. These niggas so wicked. He telling on his wife. Yes, it is. When did you meet Yvonne Vasquez? About 1998. When did you marry her? About 2005, when Meech went to jail. Look at how all this shit coincide. Boom. Between 98 and 2005, were you involved in Yvonne Vasquez cocaine supplying network? Yes, I was. Did you work with her on drug trafficking during that period of time? Yes, I did. No, not until around 2000 to be correct. 2002 or 2003, I believe. In 2002 or 2003 is when I developed the customers that you mentioned before. So the customers that he had, if it's getting too long for y'all, is these customers that he knew. Once Meech put the play together from incarceration, he still knew the same customers. It was a network of customers. Boom, they say, okay, Mr. Corral, did you ever meet Oscar Dillon? This is a customer of Meech that was operating out of St. Louis. He ain't just meet this nigga at the bar. Meech introduced him to him like he introduced Suarez and Cuffy to Tammy. Boom, he said yes. Did you meet that person? Yes, I did. Late January or sometime in February, I met him in Carson, California. And on Carson and Tolmont Street, is that what you asked? Yeah, what is the significance of this location? Tolmont Street in Carson that you met him at. It was a home, one of the homes owned by who? Ralph Sims, Demetrius Flannery, man, bro. Y'all want me to keep going?
No, you don't have to. Hey, listen, you ain't got to keep on going because this is what you call, hey, listen, where there's smoke, there's fire. We'll be.
Let me give you Keyshawn Robinson real quick.
Come on with it. The YouTube Streets panel, Eon Williams, aka DC Blacks, Uncle Juice, aka the Beat Factory 313, and everybody's favorite ghetto beverage, Henny.
Now you done added ghetto to it.
I don't know. Did I say that?
Yes, you did.
Girl, bye.
I'm sick of you.
Girl, bye.
Hey,
Not
listen.
girl, but listen, wait till I get my soundboard back up. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you back.
Girl,
You know what it is? Hey, listen, man. Listen, y'all don't want to miss this. We're going to go down and come back up. When we come back up, we're coming back up with Hollywood Wade again. You don't want to miss this explosive conversation that's about to take place. So we're going to go off. Everybody who's here now, all 500 plus people, we need y'all to come right back because we're coming right back into play as soon as we go off. As soon as Eon get through making this point, we going down and we coming right back up.
Oh, all right. It's short too. It's only like 2 pages. You ready?
Let's get it.
All right. So I already gave y'all the backstory. Same way Meech had Tammy Cowens. Meech had another woman in like 2007. Don't quote me on the date. I think it was 2007. But he had another woman by the name of Keyshawn Robinson that was running plays. Meech was owed a debt according to this testimony. That me, and he sent her from Atlanta, Georgia to St. Louis, Missouri to collect the money. And the DEA and the FBI knew she was coming based on wiretaps. Here you go, right here. Boom. They asked about the evidence. What were you going to assist Group 32? That's the name of the team that was on them. With their surveillance. What is Group 32? That's another group within the Drug Enforcement Administration in St. Louis. Always St. Louis. What type of surveillance were you told that Group 32 was going to carry out on that morning or that day? The answer is we were going to attempt to follow a female that was coming into St. Louis. Were you given a particular information to help you identify that person arriving in St. Louis? Yes, the pedigree information. What is the pedigree information? That's height, weight. That's what the person looked like, y'all. Okay, boom. And that was all on Delta Airline flights from 1:45 to 1:50 p.m. Yes. And did you know where it was coming from? Yes, we knew it was coming from Atlanta, Georgia. Did you have a picture of the person in advance of their arrival? No, simply a word description from someone. Yes. And were you able to locate that person fitting the description that you were given? Yes. How did you do that? We waited for the female to deplane, and once she deplaned, we followed her out of the concourse. During that time, she received a phone call, or she either made a phone call. I don't remember which one. And she was on the telephone, and we got word shortly thereafter that she would be meeting someone, right? It goes on to say to that point to make that, what was the person's name that she was supposed to be meeting, or what was her name? I don't remember his name, but her name was Keyshawn Robinson. Okay, did you see Miss Robinson actually get in the car and go away? Yes. And do you recall what kind of car? Yes. The car was a silver Dodge Charger. Now, after you saw that person, Miss Robinson, get into the car, did you continue with the surveillance to that point? No. Did you see her again that day? Yes. What was she doing later that day? I had received a phone call. They always getting tips. I had received a phone call that the female that had come to St. Louis and had gotten back into the Dodge Charger and was now returning to the airport. And what was that time in the morning? What was that much later in the afternoon? Yes, that was around 4:15. And what was the reply to you? She said that she did not know. Did you find anything did you find anything in either one of her bags? Yes, we found a large bundle of currency, rubber band. With respect to the large bundles of currency, did you interview Ms. Robertson at any further than that? He said, yes, I'll say later. So we're going to stop. I'm going to have to pull that. But you know they interviewed her. We'll get to that later because I don't got it saved in my little notes for this one.
Got you. Y'all tuned in to the YouTube streets, man. We all over the place, bro. Hey, listen, we coming right back. So when we log off, we logging right back on in less than 5 minutes. Y'all come back. When we come back, we finna crack the motherfucking planet in half. Salute.
Salute.